Now we start the streaming on YouTube right now.
Ok, então, boa tarde, pessoal. Eu vou apresentar então a professora Thamar Solorio. So Thamar Solorio is a professor in the Department of NLP at NBZUAI, and she is also a tenured professor in computer science at the University of Houston. She is the director and founder of the Ritual Lab, and her research interests include multilinguality and low-resource NLP, as well as information extraction and, more recently, language and vision problems. She is the recipient of a National Science Foundation Career Award for her work on authorship attribution, and recipient of the 2014 Emerging Leader ABIE Award in honor of Dennis Denton. She just completed 2 terms as elected board member of the North American chapter of the Association of Computational Linguistics, which we call NACL, and was a PC co-chair for NACL 2019. She's an editor-in-chief for the ACL Rolling Review Initiative and member of the advisory board of the ARR. Her research has been funded by NSF and Adobe. So we are happy to have Professor Thamar here. And then after her talk, we will also have Jing, who's also in NBZUAI, and she's in a recruitment position. She'll talk to you about opportunities in the university. So they just arrived yesterday after a very long flight and missing a connection. So we're happy that they've made it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for launching my career in the YouTube stardom. Hopefully I'm an influencer thanks to this. I'm super excited to be here. It was a long trip, but I'm looking forward to talk to you about what we do and hopefully have some interesting discussions. I am going to talk about very recent work that we've been doing in the space of language and vision. But as you see, like I said, language and vision, but at the end you'll see my solution, or what we are proposing is actually turning the language and vision into a language task. But we're still leveraging multimodal models. And so what I'm going to do is give you like an overview of some of the model architectures that we have seen in recent years that try to work with language and vision. First, for visual question answering, we have an image and you have to answer a question that is posed in natural language. And then how the recent architectures for turning that into video. Very briefly, just the gross details of how these models work, and then I'll talk about what we are doing in this space. Again, so very recent work. We just posted our archive paper on Friday with some recent results, and hopefully we can get it out and continue working in that direction. So as you may be aware, if you are in AI and in the field of vision and language, or in the space working on computer vision or language, you may be familiar with this, with the recent state of affairs, where because we have made a lot of progress in both vision and language, then that allows us to start tackling the combination of the problems, right? Originally, when we started working on AI, we realized it's really hard to do together vision and language and robotics, right? When AI started. And then we separated them out so that we can make progress on each of these different fields. But now we're coming together again because the models have become so powerful that now we can start addressing these kinds of problems. And this is what I'm going to show. So it's a little bit of what has been happening in trying to connect the modalities. How do we make inferences that are taking into account information from these different modalities, and what are recent models, and what are we trying to do here? So we're talking about vision language models for image QA. What we're saying is that we're expecting these models to reason across modalities, right? To be able to have some sort of understanding of what the visual information is providing, as well as contextualize that information with the language input, right? And then do some interesting tasks. So this is what we're trying to do here. A common architecture, model architecture recently developed in last year, LEAP 2, is kind of like the foundation for the work that we're trying to do. But here you can see that in this LEAP 2 model, they have the vision part, So they have a frozen image encoder. That means that they take a pre-trained vision model, give the image to this model. The model extracts some features or information that then they give to this module on the top that you see here that is called the Q-former. And what the Q-former does, it has some, the modality interaction is being achieved through 3 different loss terms in the model during training. One that does image text matching. So the Q-former is called Q because this model extracts a set of queries that you can think about them as feature extractors from your image. But these feature extractors are having information from the language input. And so they do image text matching to try to bring the modalities together. They also do image text contrastive learning. So the representations of image and text are trying to, from the same instance, are being pulled together while representations of image in text from different instances are trying to be pulled apart. And then they do image-grounded text generation. So the model is seeing the queries to generate some textual representation. And then during the generative learning stage, where the model is expected to, for example, do image captioning or do question answering, the pre-trained language model, something like a Flanty-5, for example, gets the queries from the Q-former as input, like you can think about it as a prefix, then with the language task or the prompt for the language task, and then the model can do the reasoning task. So it's a very successful model architecture, but you can think about the fact that it's very dense with respect to the image encoder and the language model decoder are frozen, but you still have to train these Q-formers, right? So it requires a lot of data and also compute power, because these Q-formers are transformer models themselves. So these are transformer models that are trained to do this. So it's kind of complex. Other types of architectures that have been proposed in recent years for the question answering task, visual question answering, this is image question answering, are models like Flamingo on your left, where you see that Flamingo is trying to mix information from the modalities by taking a frozen pre-trained language model, and in between layers, you're going to add some layers from the image encoder representation using some gating mechanism so that you combine information, and also because they start off with a pre-trained model. They don't want to lose information in the pre-trained model, so they take advantage of those weights and they combine them. The language that they use is a chinchilla model, so it's also quite large. And the frozen image encoder, the one that extracts the visual representation, is a frozen ResNet model. And then on the right-hand side, you cannot read this, it's okay, I'll tell you what it's doing. But basically what the lens method did, the paper, is you have an input image that you give to your, it could be a feed model, like a pre-trained image language model. And then you give that to, you try to extract, this is similar, this is where we borrow the idea from what we're trying to do. You try to extract as much information, textual information about the image as possible. One of the ways that they do that is that they have the image and then they ask the multimodal model, say, this is an image of what? And then the multimodal needs to take the image information and then extract what objects are being recognized. So that's one of the prompts that they provide here. In addition, they also try to extract attributes from the same object. So describe this object or give me attributes of this object to provide, again, textual representation for that. What they do, so the whole purpose of what they're doing here is using your visual representations to get as much linguistic information from the image or descriptions of the image as possible. And then you do the task with the text. You give these captions everything that you generated, these different set of captions, you put them all together, you give them to the pre-trained language model to do the answering part. And so, again, we take from this idea of the fact that you focus on getting rich textual representation, and then you hopefully can do the question answering once you do that. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Because if you think about how we can process images and how descriptive language is, like it's really, really hard to get semantic representation from your image, right? So we have, computer vision has evolved a lot, and we have very useful models, but it's still quite challenging to get these semantic representations of the image or of a video. Whereas with language, we can use many words to describe, and as long as we capture all the most important factors, you should be able to get your answer just by using the proper textual representations. So this is what Lens is doing. I'll show you another in a little bit. Again, this is just for image, so you have a static image, and you try to do the answering, right, to resolve the question. When we're talking about video, the problem becomes a little bit more complicated, right? Because now you have a sequence of events, right? It's no longer a single image, and so now it's like, well, how do we move from this one single static image to something that is a video? How can we do that? This is what we show here. So these are examples of short video clips, and you have a question. For example, if we take the question to the left, why did the boy pick up one person from the group of them and move to the sofa? Well, option A, to share with the girl. Option B, to wrap it. Like if we see the video, we understand the video, there's no sharing with any girl, right? So the right answer should be the second one. But if you look also question on the right, how many objects were put in the backpack throughout the video, that shows you the kind of abilities that we need to have so that we can answer these types of questions. We need to count, basically. You need to keep track. You need to keep that track of history of what's happening so that you can answer that question. And that is really, really hard to do. But there's some progress being made. Common architectures for video Q&A. They're also very complex solutions in the sense that, again, for example, you have frozen BLM. Frozen BLM is the adaptation of a bird model with video. So they extract features from the images, and they turn them into kind of tokens based on the images, and they pre-train them and combine them together with the textual features, and then train this huge model to be able to have this to be able to align the language token features with the image token features to perform a task. It's adapted with intermediate model, like it says there. It uses as the underlying vision model CLE and the visual transformer, the large version of the model. And instead of number of frames, when we start talking about videos, it's really we don't give the entire sequence of video, right? We extract frames, so we extract static images that we do something with them, and then we just put them all together, right? And so in some approaches to video Q&A, some methods will select frames. For example, we have architectures that are based on the BLEEP model that I showed you, and so they extract queries, and those are your frames for the video. But in this case, for example, they use all the frames, which means that, first of all, these are short videos. They used something in the order of 64 frames per video, for example. And then on the right-hand side, you have a recent model too that was developed by Mohit Bansal's group, and it's called Sebilla. They use as frozen the OPT model and Plan P5, and they use the same idea that I mentioned from BLEEP 2, a Q-former. That is, instead of extracting features from an image, the Q-former is learning how to select frames from the video Then once you select frames that you think are going to be helpful for the video question answering, you give those to the model, prepended to your text or prompt, and then you answer the question. Here's a little bit more, always the same diagram, but a little bit more explaining what Cedilla does. So Cedilla is a very dense model because, again, it's training your Q-former. This model is trained from scratch to select frames from your video. So that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So once you select your frames, the Q-former selects the frames, it sends a hidden representation, looking representation from these frames, and then prepend it to a model like flag T5, and then flag T5 answers the question. The answer is provided here to the answer, right? They do some clever unsupervised training so that you can reduce the amount of training that you use, but it's still a very dense model. So for example, what they do with the answer is if the frames you gave to the model do not provide the right answer, then you scratch those and say these are not good frames. But if the frames you give to the model correctly answer the question, then you take those as silver labeled information for your frame selection and you feed it to the Q-former, you train the Q-former on another iteration of this data. But the one problem, we work with Sevilla a little bit, we did some experiments, and so one of the issues is that frame selection has no notion of history of what happened in the video. So it's like, and every time the Q-former is selecting frames, but the Q-former doesn't know what has been selected before. It has no context. It has no global reasoning about what are the best frames to answer a question. So for a little bit, we tried to work on focusing on that part, a better selection of frames with the Q-former, but it's a huge model, and we don't have a lot of GPUs like, like these guys do. And so we sort of give up on that idea, and we try what else to do. But nonetheless, this is a very good state-of-the-art model that we want to compare against. And then on the other hand, at the end of 2023, the same group of people, Mohit and his group, released a model called Loving, a simple LLM framework for long-range video Q&A. And this is the adaptation of the lens method that I showed you, where they try to focus on extracting rich textual representation so that we can answer the question with just the text. And so what they do is, given a caption of a video, please provide a summary. So they show mini clips that in the video, and then they take mini clips, and then for each mini clip, they extract a caption. And then after the caption, they give that to a pre-trained language model, a large language model, and they ask the model to provide a summary. And given all these captions, give me a summary of that. And you hope that because the captions are informative, then the summary is going to accurately describe the video. And then they give that to a GPT 3.5 model, so an OpenAI model, which is not open, a closed model. And then they leave all the reasoning to this module. So the one that does the heavy reasoning part for answering the question is a closed model, so behind a paywall. So that's like very not exciting to us. So it's like, we're not going to do that. But I'm still going to show you some examples. So here's the original question that you cannot see because it's covered by this thingy. There you go. So why did the boy pick up one person is the same question I've showed you before. You have the options, and these are all the captions that you generate. You can, they just have different ways to stochastically sample the model to generate captions and generate different versions. And then they ask GPT 3.5 to summarize the video. And then once GPT summarizes the video, look at how, what a nice description you have here. Towards the end of the video, the boy is observed picking up one person from a group of them and moving to the sofa. While the exact reason for this action is not explicitly described, it can be inferred that the boy is likely drawn to a particular person and decides to bring it to the sofa for further exploration or enjoyment. And then that's it. You have that. You hope you can answer the question, right? If you have a good reasoning language model, you can answer the question, which is what they did. However, not all is good and green and dandy, right? They still have some issues. So, for example, if the captions do not capture the information from the beginning, then you're not going to be able to answer the question. But even in some cases, even when your caption and your summary have information that you're looking for to answer the question, the language model may just still fail. So this is good because it means the problem is not solved, and so we can work on that a little bit more. So far, I've shown you some work that accomplishes modality bridging through different ways. Maybe it's a dense end-to-end model, maybe it's that these layers that we intersperse, like I mentioned, or maybe it's a queue former that is extracting features or selecting frames that is bridging the gap. And I showed you some solutions where the heavy reasoning part is left to close large models, like a GPT type of model. And we want to avoid that. We want to avoid the use of very compute-intense solutions, as well as relying on solutions that are closed. And then we have to pay. It's like, come on, we're doing science and we're going to pay OpenAI to tell them whether the model works or not. It's not going to. It's not going to. What we're going to do not in my group if I can prevent it. So our idea is to rely on what we have available. Models that are open that we can inspect, that we have to pay anyone, that we can also distribute as part of our solution. But as well within reasonable GPU budgets. You still need GPUs, but not as large as for Sevilla, for example, where you need to load both the entire vision model and the entire large language model. That's a lot for a GPU budget. So instead, we do something like I mentioned at the very beginning and in the other works. We focused on how can we extract meaningful textual representation from the video so that we do the question answering part. We do something super simple. We have a captioning prompt that says basically what we're trying to say to the model that is generating captions is, I want to answer this question. Give me a caption that is informative for this particular question. Right? Not just describe the image, but say, I have this image. This is the question I'm looking for, so tell me something that is useful for that question. And so we give that to the model. We generate different captions for each of the frames. We do some stochastic sampling to change what the model generates. And then with that, with our captioning prompt and the question, and we concatenate all the captions that are generated. We provide the question, the options, and we ask the reasoning model to answer the question. That's it. That works surprisingly good. So no big model, no closed model, and we're showing very competitive results. So here's an example. It's again the same video that I showed you before. Here's the captioning prompts that we tried. The base captioning template is a photo of, and the model completes the sentence, but remember the model has the question as part of the prompt, right? Oh, here's the caption. Sorry, the caption independent. This is not the one that has the question. And then this is the QA prompt. So this is what we give to the frozen language model in the end to answer the question. So a bunch of captions, the question, the options, and say, considering the information presented in the caption, select the correct answer. Right, and we give all the options. We have to be very specific because if you don't say, just give me one letter answer, the model will just generate something longer. So here are results with showing accuracy as well as this table is better. So we did experiments across 4 different benchmark data sets that do video question answering. All of these are, models that came out very recently, including the one that I showed you that was released in December, and some other models, including one that came out early this year. In gray, like it showed, this is accuracy, right? So higher the better. The numbers we show in gray is because we're saying you're a closed model, so we're going to compare against you, but just know that we know that you're a closed API behind the paywall. And as you can see that the qubit module that we are discussing here is fairly competitive. And in some cases, it's even giving better results. Now, what goes into the different performances, it has to do more with the type of questions, the data set itself. Some data sets have very complicated questions. that you have a video of someone putting stuff in the backpack, and then the question is, list the objects in reverse order that were placed in the backpack. That's a really hard question. And so again, depending on which data set we're looking at, that's why you see differences in performance, because some questions are very reasoning heavy, or you need to start counting and keep track of, where some other questions are more like easier, like the one with the little kid. But yes, in general, we're very happy to see that you don't need a huge model, you don't need to train from scratch, you don't need a lot of data, and you certainly don't need to pay OpenAI to come up with something that approximates that performance. With these summarization studies, one of the things I mentioned at the beginning with videos is that you have to select frames. And so that's a hyperparameter, how many frames do you need, which number is better. So we did different experiments with number of frames. You see some variability, and in the end we selected using 64 frames, but numbers are a little bit different, but not that much. We also did relation studies with different types of prompts, and surprisingly, and a positive side of this is that the different types of prompts do not change the numbers that much. So you don't have to do like a lot of prompt engineering, which is kind of boring. You can do fairly reasonable, like across the same numbers with the different versions that we tried. So to sum up, I mentioned I was going to be short, hopefully not as short, but we still have a lot to hear about today, so I want to make sure that we have time. Visual question answering is still a very much an unsolved problem. You saw the numbers that in the 40s, 50s, 60s. That means like we still have a long way to go, right? It's a complicated problem. So hopefully we'll be able to improve further. Current models struggle with the temporal reasoning. So some of our previous experiments, for example, the models cannot predict, like if you drop a ball, that's a reasoning, a common sense thing that we acquire since we are a few months old, when we start dropping stuff in the floor as a human. For a computer model, it's really hard to predict. Like if you drop the ball, the model cannot predict that the object is going to end up in the floor. And so there are many types of abilities that are very complicated to solve. So there's still a lot of work to do. Information from the raw video is very difficult to model. So there's still a lot more that can happen. Instruction trained models seem to provide the best alternative for us. So one thing I didn't mention, I talked a little bit about Bleep 2. Our underlying model is InstructLeap. So it's a model that has been pre-trained with instructions, different types of instructions for different tasks. And what we found is that that model is a little bit better to understand the specific instructions, like choose a specific letter, give me a one-letter answer, or give me these captions that, so the model, once it has been pre-trained to do this kind of instruction tuning, then the model provides you more flexibility. Like it gives you better output. Yeah, I don't like the use of closed models. I understand how and why everybody's so excited about ChatGPT and this and that and whatever. Then we have a lot of papers that are like, well, ChatGPT cannot do X, Y, and Z, or ChatGPT can do X, Y, and Z. I have a lot of problems with that because from my point of view, that's not what we're here for. In academia, we're supposed to be doing science, and science needs to be reproducible. And if your solution involves using an API that you cannot inspect and that you cannot reproduce results from, like for me, it's like, well, so what? Like I don't really think that it's an interesting. I'm not saying it's not interesting to know what these models can do. It is interesting, but it's not leading us to make progress, right? Because we cannot inspect what is happening. And definitely even more work needs to be done for long videos, right? So the longer the sequence, then the more complicated it becomes. Just imagine wanting to answer questions about a movie. It's like, we're pretty far from doing that. And so there's still a lot of work that can happen. And again, many thanks to David Romero, he's a wonderful research assistant that has been doing the work that I get to present. So big shout out to him. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take questions now.
I'm sorry to explain it, but I don't get it if you guys use generative models to all the models. Like for the summarize, you make a prompt to description, caption, and other prompt and get it.
So we do use all of these are generative models, except for the previous models that I talked about when they do extraction of features, for example, the ones that use visual transformer or the ResNet, they extract features right from the images. They don't really create new content. The solutions that we talked about here, this frozen NLM, I didn't mention it, you're right, this is a Plantify model, and it's a generative model. And it's the same that is underlying this instruct blip model, which instruct blip by itself, the entire instruct blip is a generative model, multimodal model. Is that?
Yeah, interesting. Thanks.
About this question about temporality, would it be interesting to add some informations about the, how can I say, for example, you gave the example of the ball, so the model cannot predict the ball falling, but we can predict that because we understand in how can I say, before anything, we know, we have the information that balls fall. Like if you have the ability to add to your caption, well, there's a ball, balls falls, and there is no flaw in the ball. Wouldn't be this a possible scenario to make predictions about the future of the video or something like this? Adding information that is not necessarily in the image, but if you could add information about the object in the image. I don't know if I was clear. Was that clear?
I sort of get what you're saying, but I'm thinking more like you want to add some like common sense that is related to what's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one big question, right? How do we do that in an efficient way? Like these models need a lot of data,
yeah,
right? And a lot more than what we can physically, like compute-wise, feed into them right now with what we have. And so it's as we make progress, probably that will become easier. There are some other things you can do. So for example, when I mentioned the different pre-training objectives of a model like, oh, I got lost, like, which one? Let me see. Oh, am I skipping slides? Well, there's one model that I was showing you that has different learning objectives here, right? So, for example, image text matching is basically, can you predict which image and text belong to the same instance? Yes, no. And you train the model to be able to relate this text description is related to this particular image. We could try to do something like that. For example, can you predict the order? If I show you different traits, what pre-training objective could be, can the model predict the order? Is this order right or this order wrong? It somehow try to embed that type of knowledge into the models. There is some work that does that. We have not done that part because, again, you need, for example, if you want to do that with this Q-former, you need this very heavy model loaded into your GPU. And so we couldn't fit it in our budget, but there's some other things that you could do. Like, for example, put them in order, predict the order of sequence, or which is the next one. If I show you two, which is the next one? Tell me which is the next frame that comes into the sequence, and somehow try to have the models acquire some sort of, you expect that they could, but you know.
So it lacks context, right? Like,
it lacks context, and then, like, for example, this one, the learn queries, when you do frame selection, it does have no notion of order, right? It doesn't know which one came first. You don't have that. Like in these language models, we embed them with some positional encodings, right? That can help the models acquire the ordering of the words. We don't have that. There are some visual models that do, but not just one. This one doesn't have any information.
So it doesn't have any context.
No, you can only fit what you know. The only thing you can fit is the current representation from the image encoder. That's it. And this information is extracted from the frame. So that's all the context you have. You don't have notions of this frame came before this one or this came after.
So my question is related to the captioning prompt. Maybe you mentioned this and I missed, but have you guys tried an approach without the question or with some kind of different formatting of the question? And the reason for the question is that I imagine that the model could potentially hallucinate or create some kind of action based on the question that's asked.
Yeah, I guess I don't have it here. Yes, I have it here. So we did try different, a little bit we played with the captioning prompts, like to extract the images, and we realized that what is more meaningful for us is not, so some captions are like, there's a lady in like a kitchen, or there's a lady running down the slope or whatever, like very, these are the first type of captions that were generated, right? And the models are still trained on these type of descriptive images that are not necessarily what you need for doing question answering. And so our third, and similar to what other work has done, is like we need the captions to be specifically generated with the question in mind. So you guide the model, you provide the model, this is what I want to answer, please give me a caption that is related, and that's what we do here, right? Based on the image, provide a detailed description of the photo related to the question next, right? You give the question, and then you just hope the model generates something related to that. But they still hallucinate, so that's still a problem when you generate captions. Either captions are non-informative, or they're talking about things that don't happen. You just hope that because you give a lot of them, because you generate for each of the frames and you're sampling, then you have enough useful information.
Just a quick question. I've seen a work that uses kind of an approach for sports summarization. So it has a specific knowledge about the tennis matches. So it uses a system to derive the positions and what the player did, and also use sound to enrich the representation with, like, the audience is excited. Are you guys exploring using other modalities or using narrower or more specific contexts?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Not us, but the other group that we keep mentioning, because they produce papers like every Monday and Wednesday. They just came up with one where they use audio. The other modality they all mentioned. Obviously, like the things become much more interesting. You have richer context, right? So yeah, that's a direction that we need to go further. Yeah. Very nice. Yes.
Related to the prompts, is the model people who answer the video was generated by AI?
Sorry, is the model what?
Is the model people who answer the video was generated by AI or not? The video was made by a tool.
Oh, okay. A model generated by another model.
Yeah.
Good. I'm guessing as long as the type of questions are within the same complexity as the ones that we have seen, that for the model, then it doesn't care. Like, the model doesn't know where the questions are coming from. It could be from a human, it could be from another generative model, it doesn't matter. I think the issue is this something that I can answer with what I'm capable of representing or learning, understanding, right? So it's basically more about how difficult is the question as opposed to, is this generated by a human or a model? Did I answer your question? Was that your question? Like
Yes.
AI generated question versus human generated question?
More specifically, I'm curious if the model is capable of detect some video was or not was generated by a tool.
Oh.
Because if it's a original video.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's an interesting question. So you're thinking that if it's a model that is generated by an AI, then it may be easier in some way to answer, or more like you think that, oh, that's an interesting question, I have no idea.
I guess we've finished the session. So thank you very much, Thamar.
Oh, no, stay on page. We don't need this one. Am I still?
Yeah, I think so.
Or expertly? I don't know. Okay, so you have here.
So JJ Huang is going to talk to you about the opportunities and the wait time. Should you come visit us? Yeah, some students answers. Thank you, Professor Thamar. Thank you, Vivian. I'm Jingjing Huang from Mohammed bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence. I'm super excited to be here after 15 hours flight from Dubai to Sao Paulo, and then we missed our first connection, and it took us another 5-6 hours to come here. And but I'm very relieved and very excited to meet you because you are one of the most friendly group of students and most interactive students I've ever seen so far. Thank you for that. I have been recruiting for MBCU AI since 2.5 years ago. I recruited more than 100, 200 students for MBCU AI so far. And I went to countries like China, Vietnam, Germany, Switzerland, and many others as well. So, and also a lot of universities in UAE. And I have to say that we really want to recruit some students from Latin America, from Brazil, from this university, because I know you are one of the best universities in the whole Latin American region, and we want to bring more diversity to our university, and I also want all the students to learn from each other, to benefit from our faculty members, from the peer students, and also benefit from the culture of MBCU AI. I'm going to give a maybe 20-minute session on this our university programs, which is open for 2024 fall, which starts from August, end of August this year. And also some, maybe if you're interested, I can talk about RA, which is research assistant opportunities in our universities as well. We have a program called UGrid, which is also included in this presentation, and I will talk about the other, like our regular research assistant programs that we have in our university. And of course, if you're already a PhD student, welcome to apply for a postdoc opportunity with our professors in MBCU as well. So we have lots of opportunities for you.
Let's start with a brief introduction of MPC AI. And one of the reasons we are super excited to be here is because it seems not so many students have ever heard of us before. And we are a very young university. We established 4 years ago, and now we rank 18 in the whole world in the field of AI. And you must be very curious, how could we do that? And what is happening in the other, like a part of the world, in the place, the Middle East country, where you think all the wars are happening and maybe it's not safe, and maybe there's all Muslim people, they have weird culture or something like that. So that's why we are here. We want to tell you what the real life in Abu Dhabi, in UAE, and in MPC AI looks like. And it's probably something you have ever thought about in your whole life, that Abu Dhabi, where our university locates, is the capital of UAE. So UAE stands for United Arab Emirates. It has 7 emirates, and Abu Dhabi is the capital and the biggest one. We are located in, there's a city called Masdar City. It's a new energy city in Abu Dhabi, and sponsored. We are a government institution, government university. We are fully sponsored by the government, and Abu Dhabi is listed as one of the safest city in the whole world for 7 years in a row. So you can never imagine a place in the Middle East region where a lot of wars are happening, still happening now with Israel, between Israel and Palestine. You can never imagine there's it's so safe over there. It's only a few hundred, maybe 1,000 kilometers from Israel, but it's super safe. There's never war happening in UAE since the country was established in the year 1971. Okay, so much about UAE. So we start with the session. Okay. So why our university was established 2019 is because UAE as a nation, it starts an AI strategy for a couple of years ago, about 7-8 years ago. So the vision is to become one of the leading nations in AI by 2031. So it's not artificial intelligence ready, but artificial intelligence leading country. So the first step is to build a university specialized in AI, which is ours. So our full name is Mohammed bin Zayed, University of Artificial Intelligence. So Mohammed bin Zayed is the president of UAE and also the king of Abu Dhabi Emirates. So you can easily judge it's a government institution. And our vision, mission, and objective is to become a paradise for transformative research, for a cradle for best CS scientists and engineers, and also a hub for startup ecosystem and high-tech innovations in MENA area. MENA is the Middle East and North Africa. There are 22 countries speaking Arabic. This is our campus looks like. It's very modern, and those red-brown buildings are the dormitories for our students. Each student get a free accommodation of approximately 40 square meters with bathrooms, kitchen, everything included in the same room. And also in the building, all the water, electricity, Wi-Fi, laundry are all free. And we offer more than that. You will see more in the scholarship page. So this is our campus looks like. And we are a very diverse international community. We have 276 students from 42 different nations. And we have 5 departments so far. we have NLP department where Professor Thamar is from, and we have machine learning, computer vision, and computer science, which is new. Computer science and robotics, both of them are new programs that we're going to launch from August this year. And we have 64 faculty members now. As a small university of only 276 students, we have 64 faculty members. That's very luxury. And 50% of them are from world top 100 AI institutions, including CMU, Cambridge, Georgia Tech, and Berkeley, and many others. And we have 202 researchers hired, and this includes postdocs and research assistants. So we have regular research assistants under each faculty member to help with the projects. So in total, we have 202, and we keep recruiting research assistants every year. And I'm sorry, I checked with my colleague, this number has to be updated because I only get it until November last year. So by November last year, our publications in top conferences and journals in 2023 alone is 866. So I guess the number for the whole year, of 2023 should be over 1,000 something. For example, for neurons alone, for that conference alone, we have 54 publications accepted. And we have 6 Best Paper Awards in 2023, and we rank 18th in CES rankings in AI. And we have 276 students. Among them, there are 51 UE nationals only, and all the others are international students. And so far we have 111 master students graduated. The first 2 batches of master students already graduated. And I will introduce about their career options later. This is our ranking. I'm sorry, maybe it's too blurry for all of you, but I'm just gonna introduce to you briefly. So in AI general, we rank 18th in the whole world after Berkeley. In ML, machine learning, we rank 28th in general after Columbia, next to Columbia. And in computer vision, we rank 16th next to Sun Yat-sen University in China. And in NLP, we rank 18th next to University of California, San Diego. Here is a page of our faculty members, and there you can find Professor Thamar. And this is our university president, Professor Eric Xing. He is from CMU. And our provost, Tim Baldwin, he's from Melbourne University. And this is Michael Jordan. We consider him as, like in China, we consider him as the father of machine learning. He's also the supervisor of Professor Eric Xing back in Berkeley. He's still in Berkeley, and he's also a laureate professor of MBCUI. He comes visiting us every year. And Sir Bradley, and this is the CV department chair, Ian Reid, and this is ML department chair, Kun Zhang. He's also from CMU, and this is NLP department chair, Preslav. I'm not gonna spend too time on this page, but you can search on our faculty members on our official website, mbcuai.ac.ae. It's also on the magazine that you circulate around. So you can find all the faculty information on our website, including their research field, their publications, and their education background, everything. So if you are interested to follow any of them for master's study, for PhD study, for postdocs, for research assistant, you are welcome to contact them. Or you can contact me. I will link my email address later. So if you cannot find their email, normally you cannot find their email address on our website, but you can find it on Google Scholar page. So our research focus of our university is on healthcare, sustainability, education, and many more. This is my favorite page. So where I recruit all the students from. So 131 from East and South Asia, for example, China and India and Vietnam and many other countries, and 37 from Europe and Central Asia, mostly from Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, and a few East European countries. And 86 from Middle East and North Africa. So this is what I mentioned as MENA, because UAE is really influential in this whole region. So the students, the people there know MBCUI really well. And every year we receive over maybe 2,000 applicants from this area. And 12 from the south part of Africa, 5 from North America, and only 5 from Latin America. That's why we're here. I remember we have 2 from Colombia, yes, 1 from Uruguay, 1 from Costa Rica, 1 from Mexico maybe. That's the only Latin American students we have now. So we really need someone from Brazil to bring us new blood, to bring us new culture, influence. So among all our students, there are 199 male students and 77 female students. For artificial intelligence university, we are really proud that we have 28% of female students. And the student to faculty ratio is 4.5 students following 1 faculty, which is really a very good ratio. And last year, 2023 fall, we have many students from top 50 CS ranked universities, including students graduated from CMU, Stanford, MIT, Tsinghua and Peking University. These are the 2 top universities from China, and Chinese Academy of Science, and Nanyang Technological University from Singapore, also the top 1 university in Singapore, Fudan University, also from China, and UCL, and many others. And this is our student achievements, and we have many more which are not mentioned here as well. And these are our program offerings for 2024. As I mentioned, we have master and PhD programs in computer vision, machine learning, natural language processing, robotics, and computer science. And the application deadline is March 31st, 2024. So we still have a little bit more than 1 month to complete your application if you are interested. I can help with you with the application instruction. If you are interested, I can share with you. Okay. So, very exciting page is about our scholarship. As I mentioned, we offer free accommodation, but that's the very small part of our scholarship. So the tuition 100% free, and we offer annual round tickets for each student, plus a monthly stipend of around $2,200 US per month to master students, and $2,700 US for PhD students. So every student gets the same, for every master student, they get the same scholarship. So everyone gets scholarship. and every PhD student get the same scholarship. But the only exceptional is UE National, because it's their nation, their university, their government institution, so they sponsor a little bit more for UE Nationals. A lot more.
More,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is the fact, right? This is a very rich country. Yeah. They spend money on their own people. It's understandable. But the basic living cost is not that high. So actually, I asked for a few students from different countries. They only have to use maybe 1/3 or even 1/4 or sometimes 1/5 of the total stipend they get each month. So they save a lot of money for travel, and because UAE located in the heart position of the whole world, so it's very close to Europe, very close to Africa, very close to the whole Asia. The only place which they are far away from is here, North and South America. So our students get travel a lot to all places that I mentioned. So yeah, they're rich. Our students are really rich. The admission, it's very slow. The admission criteria, I'm going to speak very quickly about this page. So if you want to apply for a master's program, you have, like all programs, you have to be from a STEM background, which means science, technology, engineer, and mathematics. And for GPA requirements, we require CGPA of 3.2 and above. But we do not filter students with under 3.2. So if you're still interested, you can still apply. Especially if you have a very strong research background, even if your CGPA is lower, is also okay. And for English language proficiency, we require a TOEFL of about 90 and above, or IELTS 60.5 or above. But don't worry about English test. It's not considered during the whole admission procedures. So you only have to provide your English test, the English language test by end of June, so which is after the deadline of application. So when you apply, there's a place that you're required to put your English language test result. You can put 0, and it will not affect any of your admission procedure. For GRE, it's not mandatory. Only for the direct entry, you can apply with a bachelor degree to PhD program directly, but we require a little bit higher GPA, like 3.5, and GRE is mandatory. But also, as I mentioned, if you have a strong research background, for example, if you already have a publication, then you can be waived from GRE. Okay, so this is the program I mentioned. Undergraduate Research Internship Program. We call it UGRIP. We launched it last year. I was the program manager. We recruited 33 students from 17 different countries. And it's a 4-week, fully funded research internship program in MPCUI, on campus, focusing on ML, CV, and NLP, supervised by MPCUI faculty members. Last year, our NLP department chair, Preslav, was involved in 2 of the projects. This year, the program will start from May 27th to June 21st. I don't know whether it matches your university calendar, whether it's already the summer vacation. If not, in some countries, like in Vietnam, the university agrees that if the student got an offer from UGRIP, he or she might negotiate with the department to postpone their final exams. So something like that. I'm not sure whether you can do the same thing here, but maybe Vivian can help with that later. The application, we already started from January 1st, and it will be done very soon. The deadline is the last day of February, so if you're still interested or any of your friends or classmates are interested, please encourage them to apply before the last day of February. And who can apply? STEM major students in their 3rd year or 4th year of undergraduate studies only. So if you are not an undergraduate student anymore, you can apply for a regular research assistant opportunity directly with a faculty member who you are interested from the MBCUI official website. How to apply? So go to our official website, mbcui.ac.ae, and you find study, and then you can find undergraduate research internship program open for application. We require CGPA of 3.5 or above, but still it's the same. If you have a strong research background or you have strong potential, like it's not the for GPA requirement, it's not that strict. So this is my email address, and this is the Hadija, my colleague. Normally we will leave both of our email addresses here. If you're interested, you can take a picture, or you can recommend it to your classmates or your friends or family. And the last page is QR code. You can also take a picture of that, then you will be connected with our marketing department. They will send you the information, all the news from MBCUI, like when the program starts for application and when the deadline of the application. Okay, that's my PowerPoint. Time for QA. Do you have any? Go back to that.
So I would like to ask you about, is there any programs involving graduate students, not only undergrads, but graduate students as well?
First of all our programs are graduate programs. We do not offer any undergraduate programs.
But
That's the research internship.
Yeah. Do you have something like this for graduate students?
Yes. As I mentioned, we have regular research assistant positions under each faculty members. So each of them are maybe have 2 or 3 projects or even more. So they need people, they need students to work with them. So they need postdocs and research assistants.
Yeah, so RAs are hired, like for example, to do student visits. It's like it's not really an internship, but like if you're registered somewhere else and you have and your research is related to what we care about, then we can buy you for a semester to work with us. But you don't have to leave your program. You continue working on your program, and so hopefully that leads to collaboration with your advisor or something like that. That's like Ginny said, with each of us, right? Like David Romero, like I mentioned, he's a guy from Ecuador that I hire as an RA. And I have now a Mexican student that is finishing his master's degree as an RA too for a few months. And so they come for a few months and they can work with us. And, yeah. The terms and conditions are different because you're not a PhD student, but you still get a very good salary. So
Yeah, nice.
it's a nice opportunity as well.
Thank you.
First of all, I already have some missing connections in various airports. The airport is an absolute chaos, so I see not has a lot of this situation. But let's look at the question. From a more cultural point of view, what are the activities that a student can participate in Abu Dhabi? What are the most common destinations, maybe for a weekend?
Again, from more of a cultural point of view, what you usually the students do for fun? Are there parties?
Oh yeah, they're students, like obviously they're parties.
Well, that's a further question. Like, after the application stage, but I'm very happy with that. To answer your question, yes, there are a lot of parties, as Thamar mentioned. So we have all our students living on campus, so they attend different parties, they organize different parties, maybe during the weekends, and there are many famous places to go visit in Abu Dhabi. For example, the Grand Mosque, I think it's the second biggest mosque in the whole world. Very beautiful as well. And we have a Louvre. So we have the only branch of Louvre aside from the one in Paris. So, and it's a very, very beautiful museum. It's worthy of visiting. And also we have the fastest roller.
The fastest roller coaster we have around the world.
Around
Roller coaster in the world.
Yeah.
And I take it. I'm like, if my kids like it, it's horrible. But yeah, you have the theme parks. You have the theme parks. Yeah, the Warner Brothers Park, and you have a water park, and then you have the SeaWorld, and then you have Ferrari World. Yeah. So those that love Formula One, like my kids, they're there. But my kid was there on the weekend. Yeah. There are beaches too. So Abu Dhabi is a collection of beaches, and so people can go to the beach.
Yeah.
You can go to safaris, so people can go and do on their own cars and just go to the desert. They do the grilling and the partying and the music. It's a very westernized country. I know it's the Middle East, and so there's some preconceived notions of what could be living there, but I can tell they've been there for 6 months. It's wonderful. It's like very open, very welcoming people. They need people, right? So they love it when you move there. so everything is in English. You communicate with everyone in English. You can buy alcohol anywhere. There's no restrictions about that. It's an important question. Come on, it's important for me. So you can buy anywhere. Not on the grocery stores like in the U.S., for example. But there are stores you can go and you can get it delivered. So it's like, it's they have their own customs, but they're very good to accommodate you. So as long as you're respectful,
The outside TOEFL are really expensive. I think they are like $200. Would you guys consider the Duolingo test, something like that, or just the Yale's TOEFL and things like that? I don't know. Yeah. There's the Duolingo test that's like $50, and I think it's.
Let us know the information. We're very conscious and aware that these things are very expensive and sometimes even hard. Like the GRE, for example, is also not required in the US anymore. First of all, because it was expensive, but also because in some cities you couldn't take it. You have to travel very far to take this exam. So if you have these things, you can write to us and let us know. We can discuss. This is the first time I hear that Duolingo offers that.
They have like the comparison.
We're not taking Duolingo. IELTS and TOEFL are only two we're accepting. And you're not taking the home edition. You can only take the one taken in the test center.
Oh, but you can talk to us about it. Because even US, for example, once you pass the stage, like say you pass the stage, then we'll be able to help. For example, we can try to discuss and accommodate how we can help. And for example, if we like you and we really want to bring you, we may pay for the exam, right? So you don't have to pay for that. I'm not saying we're offering that. I'm not saying we'll pay, but I'm saying we're very flexible.
Yeah.
And so, and we are very also aware that different people have different situations. Right?
So maybe one solution for that is that if you don't want to spend that money on IELTS or TOEFL test because it's really expensive, and also you're interested in research, And also plus you already get our offer in maybe in April. So, and you can finish your thesis, defending and everything by, I don't know, by May or by June. There's opportunity that you can apply for a 2-month research internship, research assistant opportunity with our professors. So you can earn money, you earn your salary. It's similar to what our master's degree, master's student stipend each month. And we also offer free accommodation from the budget of the faculty member. So yeah, so you get some research experience with the professor, and you can get the money to pay for the test. And you can take it in UAE. I think it's easier to take it in UAE compared to maybe here, but it's definitely easier compared to China.
Definitely don't let that stop you. That's what we're trying
Yeah.
to say. Like,
Yeah.
so submit your application materials, and then there's a discussion of all these other things, right? But don't let that be like the stopper for
Yeah.
doing.
That's why we can postpone the test until maybe end of June. We can even postpone it until the day that you enter MBJI, which is end of August. So you can take it after you receive our offer. For international students, all the offers will be issued by mid-April, or I have to say the latest maybe end of April. So you already get you already know whether you are admitted or not by end of April. And then you can start to prepare for your test. And also you can start applying for an RA position and according to your own plan.
How long are the guardians?
How long?
How long are the
How long for an
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a very important question. Sorry, I didn't put it there. So for master degree, it's 2 years. For PhD, it's 4 years.
the same as in here?
Okay. And we have 2 semesters each year. The first semester is from August 15th or August 20th until the first week of December. And then we start again the second semester from the first week, after the first week of January until maybe the second week of May. So we get very long summer vacation because it's super hot in UAE. That's maybe the only disadvantage of living in UAE, that you cannot go out in the summer because it can reach up to 50 degrees. Yeah, but you don't feel it inside the apartment, inside the classroom, because everywhere is air conditioned. So UAE people like to shopping a lot because they have super huge shopping malls where you can do everything there. So
And skiing.
yeah,
You go to
you
the
can
water
just,
ski.
yeah, you can go ski in the shopping mall. Yeah. So we spend the summer most of the time, like maybe 90% of the time in-house, so you don't feel the heat at all. So yeah, for our students, they have to, for master's students, they have to do 6 weeks of internship during the first summer vacation. And for PhD students, they have to prepare for their qualification exams after, during the first summer vacation. And they have to complete a internship of research. Internship can also be counted for 12 weeks. So that's what our students are doing during the summer vacations. Of course, they travel a lot too because they're rich. Any others? Other questions?
Really 2 questions. Just, but I want to know a little bit more about the research assistant. Like, how can I do like the match with a faculty member? Like, how can I apply? How can I research about faculty members' research programs? Because, for example, my research basically involves AI applied to computer networks. So I will need to go and search for someone that works with computer networks or something similar that can be applied to computer networks with AI. So what are the steps I need to do for finding a faculty member that has something to do with my research program and apply as a research assistant. And second thing, I would like to ask you if the programs include the possibility of taking Arabic classes, the language from
Arab.
yeah,
Arabic.
Arabic.
Well,
Yeah, we do open that. We don't offer any Arabic language.
yeah, there are free Arabic classes for staff.
We
And,
do.
yeah, we do. Maybe before joiners, it's in July. It works in July.
Thank you for the question.
And
For the first question, if I can give you some advice, you go to the website.
Yeah.
And I guess your best chance will be to the machine learning group, because those are the ones that can have some AI programs with your networks. And then go to their Google Scholar pages. Because our personal pages that I said are horrible. We don't have like we don't have the ones that you can have your own link and your own research agenda and all. We just have standard faculty profiles with a picture and light.
yeah.
I don't like those at all. But if you know the people, then you go to the Google Scholar and you look at their pages. And then you find which one you have an area of collaboration, and then you should write them, right? But you should mention, like, make it very relevant. Say, hey, I heard about NBZ. They came and visit you, your university, and I'm interested in your research, and I'm wondering if you're looking for any RAs. This is my background. This is what I'm doing, right? I'm thinking you should start with someone like Martin Takas, is that his name? He's a chair for machine learning. It's Martin, right? Deputy department chair? The deputy department chair.
Deputy is Martin.
Martin, yes. I think he does something like that. Maybe if I didn't remind him correctly. But then, yes, just look at their research, their recent papers, and then we can choose.
Okay.
But make it so that they would read your email.
Okay.
And then try again. Again, this first, if you don't hear from people, sometimes we get emails and it's not a good week to read emails. Try again.
Maybe, I don't know how to write here. Maybe later on, after the session, you can come here. I will write you a few names and you can try to research whether it's the one you're looking for.
So you know more names, yeah.
And yeah,
I don't know a lot of other people, you know them more than I do.
That's he's famous for neural networks as well. Okay. Any more questions?
So, thank you, Titi.
Thank you.
Do we still
Do you want to take a picture together? Normally we take a picture together. With
Okay.
us. We can.
I can take a picture.
You turn the light.
Sure.
Do you want me to stop this?
Let me
Finish.
Do you want me to leave the meeting? Or are you closing it?
Yeah, I already.